But anyway, we sing a lot of her songs. It's good. All right, well, today we're talking about we are family, but of course, you know, I always have something a little cute. So this is, I know, right? This one's called An Inebriated Miracle. And the time, 1960s, one early twilight evening, place, a New York City street. A man is walking down a fairly busy street and unfortunately has enjoyed himself a bit too much at the local bar's happy hour. He's in a fairly thick state of inebriation. Up ahead and upcoming are two Catholic nuns walking along wearing the old-style long black dresses or habits. As always, they walk fairly close together, even sometimes arm in arm as they talk quietly about their convent school's activities and spiritual matters relating to prayer, thanksgiving, and God. Upon seeing the hapless, drunken man slowly coming their way, they decide not to stare at him and shame him, but to simply look down at the sidewalk pavement as they proceed, silently saying prayers to themselves for his well-being in the embrace of the good Lord. When the gracious women have drawn even nearer to where he is, he accidentally, awkwardly lurches to his left, right, and then right into their oncoming path. The nuns simply and deftly separate for a moment, one nun going around to his left and the other nun going around to his right, before they come together again and proceed to walk down the street arm in arm. Meanwhile, the man isn't quite sure what has just happened. He turns around in his drunken grogginess and finally exclaims to himself in an inebriated voice, "Lord, save me, what a miracle! How in the world did she do that?" You get it? Two women, how did she do that? Okay, I guess not. Oh, yeah, think about it. Think about it. How did she do it? He thought there was only one. Oh, okay. Oh, well, can't win them all. Anyway, what can we say? Well, as I was being present to the We Are Family, I was talking not so much about family, but about our society and about how we all come together as one and that we're all connected. Because Ernest Holmes talks about it in Living the Science of Mind. He talks about how we are like little broadcasting stations. And, you know, I don't know if you've realized this, but think about how many times there's been an invention in the world and so many different people have thought about the same invention. That's because we're all connected and we are all one. So I wanted to just read a little bit from Living the Science of Mind. And in this book, he talks about how we are, oh, here it is, how we are a spiritual broadcasting station. So whatever we put out, we also give back. It is the same with everything in life. A person whose thought is filled with the fear of failure tunes into and picks up vibrations of failure. Wherever he contacts them, to his own negative thought, there's added a great mass of negative thoughts until finally it seems the only thing he can think about is failure. In a way, both his will and his imagination become hypnotized because he or she is tuning into so much negation. When a person's mind is upset, disturbed, or unhappy, all he mentally hears is discord because his inner ear is listening to a continuous turmoil. I'm going to stop there for a second. We're doing The Four Agreements, the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, who is dad. Don Jose is the son. And he was talking about don't make assumptions, but he's also talking a lot about how when we take care of ourselves and as we change ourselves, then the world around us changes. And so if there's a lot of negativity eventually, if we're happy within ourselves, then we're going to feel happy, okay? But we have to shift what's going on with us. So Ernest Holmes, along that line, says, conversely, a person whose thought is filled with the idea of success, who has faith and confidence in himself and what he is doing, will tune in to the successful thoughts around him, the thoughts of faith and optimism and happy expectancy. A person who confidently expects good things to happen, who expects everyone to like him and who expects to find happiness in life wherever he goes will not only be broadcasting these thoughts, which will make other people happy, he will be receiving them in return. Because he feels friendly, people will respond with friendliness. We all wish to be like this, don't we though? We only want to be whole ourselves because no one can be happy unless he is whole. But we want to help others. We not only wish to broadcast good news is what we want to receive. Well, and it's also about, there was a article, I think it was in the newspaper or maybe it was online, and it was about how the negativity of the news can affect the whole household, including pets. So one story, and this is how we are too, and it affects us, but I'm just going to share about a cat. So a cat, one woman goes in and she's taking care of the kitty, and the kitty's like, oh, going crazy, and the news is on, the TV, and the TV was left on. And this poor little kitty was like, ah, because there was a bunch of violence and all this stuff on the news. And so the pet sitter said, would you please turn your TV off next time before you go to work, because your cat seemed to be upset by either the noise or whatever was going on the TV. So this about, I think when the cat sitter came up a week later, then the kitty was mellow and calm because the TV was off, the news was off, and her little, or his little, I don't know what it was, nervous system was relaxed. Well, if it affects a cat, what do you think it's doing to us? Because we're a frequency station. And I don't know about you, but when I'm around individuals that are negative, they're yelling or they're angry, and I'll remember that because it's something that feeling tone is there, right? And that if you're around a happy person, that's going to have a whole different feeling too. So a lot of times I'll go into, I don't know, whether it's Trader Joe's or I'll go any place, and I see that the checkout person, they're not really happy they're there working. So I thought, well, maybe we could do a little pay it forward. Do you want to do a little pay it forward? Because we're all family. We can all connect and help each other, right? And so I'll say, how are you doing today? Wow, isn't it beautiful weather outside? And they're like, they look, because most of the time people don't watch. Just be aware in your world. Watch around you. Take a moment and chit-chat. Chatter up with these people because they like it. Conversely, I've met other ones and they're just happy as heck that they're at work and they're thrilled and they're so joy-filled. And it's a whole different experience. So if they can give it to me, then I figure I can pay it forward and give it back to them, right? Because that's really what it is. Would somebody hand me my iPad? I forgot to, thank you. Because I remembered I didn't want to write this whole thing down. It's on, thank you, my dear. All right, see, I learned how to ask. That's been a long lesson for me, to learn how to ask. It's good. All right. There is let's see, it's on my pictures, hang on. Okay, there it is. Ernest Holmes talks about race consciousness or race suggestion. Human beliefs operating through the mentality of the individual. So you've heard me talk about this before, but it's an actual phenomenon that happens to us. The tendency to reproduce what the race has thought and experienced. So right now, like I said last week, we're going through a time where people are buying into the negativity of what's going on in our world. The tendency to reproduce what the race has thought and experienced is race suggestion. This race suggestion is a prolific source of disease. These accumulated subjective tendencies of the human race are operative through any person who is receptive to them. So what does that all mean? It means try to stay happy. Try to get rid of whatever outside influence as much as you can. And if you can't do that, then we have to pray, we have to go into meditation and shift our thought, or find somebody to talk to about what would you like to see. Gandhi, I think it was Gandhi who said, be the change that you want to see in the world. And how do we want to be the change in the world? I don't want to keep complaining about the politics and about the Democrats or the Republicans. It doesn't matter, because it would be nice just to see them come together and work together, like I said last week. And if we continue to hold that thought and put our energy and create a race suggestion into the world, wouldn't that be lovely? So we're going to continue to hold that and do that, because that feeling, Tom, feel the feeling and imagine what that would look like. You're watching the news and they're all collaborating. I have that vision. Would you like it? I would like that vision, because that is what we all desire, isn't it? We really want everyone to come together in harmony. So we are family. We are all connected. And because of that, we have an ability here where two or more are gathered to change what we need to change in the world. Do we not? It's beautiful. So because of that, we can choose to have freedom and joy and harmony in our life, or we can choose to have pain. Don Miguel talks about how once we align with the 4 agreements, and one of them is don't take anything personally. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. And what's making an assumption? All right? So I'm watching myself driving, and I do this all the time because I drive a lot. And I'm driving and I see this car and they're right on my tail, and then they go phew, and they get in the next lane, and then they do the next one and they're right on their tail. And you could, I'm sorry, but you can make an assumption that that person's going to keep doing that all the way up the road. And sure enough, you know, as I go around the corner, they're in back of this guy, they're in back of that guy. But that's not true with everything. But what we do is we make assumptions about how someone looks at us. We make assumptions about, oh, that person said that thing to me. We make assumptions about things, and it ties into not taking anything personally. Because somebody will say something, and what he says in the book is to ask questions. What did you mean by that? How, right? Wow, that came out a little harsh. So would you explain, right? How many of you do that and ask that? And I know I've caught myself, you know, I was with somebody about a week ago, and I thought, wow, you know, that person's acting a little weird, but maybe they're acting normal to them. And I'm making an assumption that they're acting weird, or that they're not talking to me. So see how we create all of this in our head? And what Don Miguel says, he goes, stop it, because we are that little station of change, and we're the ones that have this frequency within us. So when we're ruminating, oh, they don't like me, oh, they looked at me weird, oh, they said something nasty to me, well, maybe it wasn't nasty to them. Maybe that was kind. We don't know, because we're making an assumption, and we're meaning-making machines, aren't we? And we, anybody else do that? I do it. And then I have to step back, and I said, if it really was bothering me, I need to go have a conversation. And what Don Miguel talks about is that it takes a lot of courage to have a conversation, an authentic conversation of truth with somebody. Am I right? Because you can just kind of throw it under the rug, or, oh, that happened a week ago. You know, I have an example. I was with the guy that does my hair, and he was acting kind of snarky. And next time I talked to him, I would say, you know, you were a little snarky, so I just wanted to, I wondered, were you stressed? What was going on? I'm not going to say you were snarky. I'm just going to say you seemed a little stressed last time I was here. Are you okay? And that's going to make that person more present and be able to be a little kinder and not be, you know, maybe his mode is just that he's kind of that way. I don't know. I made an assumption he was being a snarky little brat. And I thought, okay, who's suffering? He certainly isn't. All right, I am. And that's what we have to do, is to be the change. And we have to be aware of our own thoughts all the time. Because if we're not aware of our own thoughts, how are we going to change? And if we're too afraid to have a conversation or say to somebody, what did you mean by that? Or would you explain that a little bit more? In the moment. And what I realized in our society, we're so polite. We're so polite, aren't we? And you're saying, in the moment, instead of, oh, I'll let it go. But we're so polite that we let it go. But I'll think about it later and think, you're the one suffering. Why didn't you say it in the moment? So my practice, my own practice, is to say something and to be aware of it. How many of you have that? Does anybody else do that? You think about it later? Why didn't I say something in the moment? So I think that is, it's not for us to beat ourselves up. It's for us to, because we are all connected. We are, I consider the world, humankind, family. We're all connected. We all have the same desires and wishes. So you look at other countries and you look at other people and different cultures, we're all the same. We're all the same. We all have the same hopes and dreams and desires, don't we? So really, it's of a benefit, and we're being, I'm going to say, we're being a positive energy out in the world because we're willing to step into our fear and have that authentic conversation. Wouldn't that be nice to live in a world like that? And I don't mean in a way where, not like that. I mean in a way we're understanding. We're trying to seek to understand, and that's really what it's about. So on that note, are you willing, are you willing to be in that moment and create an awareness? I guess we would have to, I'm going to create an affirmation because I think it's such an ingrained habit in me that I let it go. And I'm going to say something and be uncomfortable. You ready to be uncomfortable? And connect more deeply and allow others to feel more comfortable, because what that will do is create beauty in the world. It's going to create more connection and harmony. So I wanted to read a brief meditation from Ernest Holmes, and I really like this because we're talking about we are all connected, we are all family. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Today I'm keeping careful watch what I think and speak, only those things that I wish broadcast from my mind and return to me. I desire that everything I think shall be from the heart as well as from the head. I wish to broadcast kindness and love, sympathy and understanding, peace and joy. No condemnation, judgment, or fear shall go from me to anyone or anything. Turning my mind into the divine, I draw into my own soul the essence of everything that is good, true, and beautiful. I draw into my own mind the realization of the divine presence and the power of good until my whole being responds. And this is all I wish to broadcast to the world, something that will help and heal and bless. Something that will cause everyone I meet to feel a new strength, a new hope. Desiring to receive the divine blessing in my own life, I wish to broadcast it to the whole world. So I say to the whole world, may God bless you and shine love and joy upon you and give you peace now and forevermore. Amen. Amen. And so it is. So my beloveds, tap more into yourself, be more awake and aware, and don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and have a terrific week. Mwah!